Since yesterday, when news broke about this press conference, I received a lot of calls and inquiries, and it elicited a lot of interest as well. So I want to thank my constituents on whose behalf, in whose name, and on whose authority I am Senator of the Federal Republic, great and wonderful people of Bayelsa West, who have elected me twice to the Nigerian Senate since I ended my governorship. And I want to thank them for their abiding loyalty and support, for their prayers. I thank the wonderful people, good people of Bayelsa State, whose governor I was. They gave me their mandate to be their governor for 2 terms. Until date, I'm the only one who served complete 8 years. Anyone who does so after me will be number 2 and number 3 in that order. But I broke the jinx, served for 2 terms. So I thank them not only for the mandate and support, but for the prayers and solidarity and support I continue to enjoy from them. I thank my people whom I served as National Legal Advisor of the John National Congress in my younger days, an insider in the Joe and Niger Delta movement. I thank all of them. I thank all Nigerians who have continued to support and encourage and also pray as I continue to discharge the duties vested in me as a senator of the Federal Republic. Why, if someone is elected into the House, it's an honorable member representing so and so constituency, and I was also twice elected in the House of Representatives. But when you are elected into the Senate, you are called a senator of the Federal Republic. That means at all times you strive to perform duties to the Federal Republic, not just your senatorial district, because the Senate is an important national stabilizing institution. So I thank my colleagues in the Senate, those who have been on the same page with me, and those with whom I have differed on a number of occasions in the national interest. And that is a place where you agree and disagree according to your understanding of the national interest. For those who continue to show support for the values that we are here to uphold, I thank all of them. And all of you Nigerians, I thank you. Let me begin this way. I've been a faithful and committed member of the People's Democratic Party since year 2005. In this dispensation, a number of people may not know, when the military under General Abdul Salam started the democratic process to usher in civil democratic rule, I led a group of young people across this country to form a party and association that will enable us to participate actively, mobilize young people actively to be part of the unfolding democratic process. In that process, we set up a group known as the Nigerian Youth Democratic Alliance. And I was privileged to have led them in the very first meeting that the late Justice Akpata, God bless his soul, decent man, who was appointed as the pioneer national chairman of INEC. He called for a dialogue with all associations to chart a way forward. That was 1997-98. I was one of the very young people who led an association to participate in those discussions. In those discussions, in the course of those conversations, I came across and interacted with a lot of well-meaning Nigerian leaders. One of them who took me under his wings immediately after he heard me speak. And it turned out that he later knew I was a police officer in my younger days. And he had retired as an Inspector General of Police, the late MD Yusuf, of blessed memory. Good man and ideologue. Took me under his wings in his movement known as the Movement for Democracy and Justice, MDJ, which applied to be a political party. And I worked in that secretariat with Dr. Bayomi, who was Pro-Tem Secretary. Thereafter, I got appointed to start this party, the MDJ in Bayelsa. I did that. And thereafter, my leaders, who were interfacing with the Southwest leadership in the group known as the People's Consultative Forum, my leaders from the South-South, and in particular, Bayelsa Rivers Axis, Chief, now late, Obi Lulu Briggs, the founder of Monipulo, was our leader with the late Eric Assau, SDP candidate in the 1992 elections, governorship in Old River State. I was working with them as a younger man, and they pulled me out because they were in touch with the Southwest leadership, known as the PCF in those days. Their leaders were the late Senator Abraham Adesoya, supported by late Bola Ige, was their spokesman, the late Baba Adebanjo, all of them, Falahi, all of them, formidable team. My leaders got me out of the MDG to work with them. And following them, I was there when they set up the committees to form the APP. I was there when they disagreed because of the presence of some people in the APP. And they pulled out, and I worked with them. They carried me along. They went to form the PDP. Chief Ige chaired the committee that worked on the manifesto and the constitution. I was there when the Jerry Ghana committee and all other committees were appointed and they made their reports. I was one of the youngest in the room. And the name PDP was adopted at that meeting. I was there. When the colors were adopted, the slogan was adopted, the name was adopted. I saw it all. Thereafter, because of my style, which is about fidelity and loyalty to causes and to people and leadership, my leaders disagreed some of the issues in the emerging PDP and decided also to pull out from the PDP after forming all of them. And I joined them to pull out. And they now formed a party of their own known as the Alliance for Democracy, the Black Star of Africa, as our sign. I was there again when the AD was launched. And again, I was given the responsibility in Bayelsa. Very early 30s I was, to set up the party. And I went to Bayelsa to set it up against the other bigger parties, the APP, which was more on ground with all the leaders, and some other leaders who were in the PDP. And our leader, very respected elder statesman and leader, the late His Excellency Melford Obieno Kilo, blessed memory, former governor, former senator, former minister. He also formed a party for our people, known as the National Solidarity Movement, NSM, with his friends across this country. I interfaced with that party in Bayelsa, had an alliance with the NSM under the guidance and leadership of Chief Melford Okilo, who guided us. Unfortunately, after the local government elections, the NSM was not registered. The AD was registered. So because of that alliance we had in Bayelsa, that I fostered under the leadership and guidance, great man and leader, Melford Okilo, my party platform was now available, and we sponsored joint candidates. As a result of which, in the Brass local government, we won the 3 assembly seats, AD, 1998. In my senatorial district, we won the Senate seat, this seat that I currently occupy. We won the House of Reps, AD, which I later came to occupy twice. And we moved on. But we had a disagreement along the line. I had a disagreement along the line when our leader, Bola Ige, was appointed Honorable Attorney General, former Minister of Mines and Power, and then Attorney General. And the Ministry of Justice and the federal government, led by Ige, as Attorney General, instituted the onshore-offshore dichotomy suit. And in my usual way of staying faithful to issues that I believe in, and showing conviction and principle and loyalty to causes and to people, I raised concerns with the AD leadership, and particularly to our late Attorney General, who unfortunately was brutally murdered. Until date, the Nigerian nation has not done much about that, unfortunately. Great man was killed for nothing. And I disagreed with them and thought that with that suit coming from the AD Attorney General, my continued membership, which was based on true federalism, resource control, and derivation, respect for derivation, I was of the view that that was not tenable again. So I left the AD. I did not leave the AD to join the PDP that was in power in my state. And the governor, Chief Alamesia, God bless his soul, good man, broad-minded, always inviting me to come back home and join him. But I refused. The governors at the time, Chief Alamesia, Chief Ibori, and their colleagues, made the PDP attractive with their insistence on resource control through federalism. And so in 2005, when I was even national legal advisor of the Joe movement, key player in the Jos systems and in the Niger Delta system, working with the allies in Bayelsa, who all wanted to support the emergence of a new governor in person of the then deputy governor, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Dr. Jonathan personally got involved and encouraged and supported me to to join the PDP, to support his governorship ambition. And I was at that time the head, the de facto head of his political team in Bayelsa. And we had to do that. The point I'm making is that I am not a regular Nigerian politician who runs after and works for the establishment. If the establishment is not doing what is right, it has to be challenged. If the establishment is not answering questions, they have to be asked. And we all have to say no when no is the right answer. I have given you all this brief background, which a number of people don't know. They don't know my background. They don't know that I have been forged from the furnace of opposition in AD from MDJ, working with the late MD Yusuf. And if you know MD Yusuf, you knew what he stood for. Stood for a new Nigeria of fairness and justice. From there to the Alliance for Democracy, served as state chairman when we had 3 political parties. I was an opposition leader in Bayelsa. And thereafter, concurrently, while I was national legal advisor of the Joe movement, I was also elected the national legal advisor of the Alliance for Democracy. From there, as you all know, when Dr. Jonathan, my principal, the deputy governor, became governor, I was one of the first appointees as Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. And if you go to the Bayelsa Ministry, you see what we did. Ministry of Justice. From there, I came to the House of Reps and was elected twice. The first from my federal constituency at the time to be re-elected. And then I became governor twice. Now I've been elected to the Senate twice too. So that's my brief background, which a number of you may not fully know. Because this nation cannot be a one-party state. Nigeria cannot be a one-party state. Nigeria is not designed to be a one-party state. We are a very diverse nation, culturally, religiously, and politically. And that is the beauty of our country. So, anyone or any party promoting one-party rule, a one-party state in Nigeria, is pursuing a mirage, but it cannot happen. Our history does not support it. Our history does not support it. And as you have seen, some of us are very comfortable being in opposition. We build political parties, we get involved in movements to access power for the good of the people, not for our good and benefit. But the party must have clear ideology. The government formed by the party must pursue and live by those principles and values and ideology of the party. That tells you why I've been in parties like that. And even in the PDP, which gave us a lot of opportunities. Gave a lot of opportunities to my people and to me and to all Nigerians. The PDP was particularly appealing to me because it was an umbrella for all Nigerians. An umbrella for the big and the small. An umbrella for the strong and the weak. An umbrella for the so-called minorities, an umbrella for the so-called majority groups. An umbrella for all Nigerians. That's why we continue to thank those who founded that big umbrella, dissolved their political differences before, whether they were so-called progressives, a term that has been so bastardized these days, or they were so-called conservatives. They came together, and I saw them in those meetings. I was too young to be part of the inner meetings, but I saw the Rimis, I saw the Shiromas, I saw the Bamanga Tukos, I saw the Sunday Awonis, I saw Alex Ekweme, Debona, statesman, elder statesman, erudite. I saw Solomon La and co. I saw Graham Douglas. I saw Francis Ella. I saw all of them across this country. And I know even the efforts they made to woo the PCF, the Southwest leadership. They tried and tried to expand that umbrella. Fortunately, the Southwest group, which I belong to, went to the AD, and I went with them. But the PDP, true to its founding principles, gave presidential nomination to President General Olusegun Obasanjo, straight from prison. And in the elections that came before, the local government elections, all those elections were won by my party at the time, the AD. All the local government councils. Even the governorship. Yet, this party called the People's Democratic Party saw the need and identified President Obasanjo as a man needed at the time to rebuild Nigeria's broken alliances and reputation around the world and promote national reconciliation and healing. And they were right. President Obasanjo got all of this done. They brought him. He did not even win his party. The PDP didn't win any governorship. Yet, Nigerians from all over voted and gave him power. That was the spirit of PDP. A man whose party, his own people never voted in the primaries, in the local government elections for his party, never voted in the governorship, yet Nigerians from all over, in the spirit of Nigerian unity and coexistence. And when President Obasanjo finished, and by the way, this country has never had a more effective leader in our democracy. If you talk of leadership, you have to talk of what President Obasanjo did. I don't want to go into it. These phone calls we make is because of those reforms. And it takes a visionary, transformative leader to do that. The liberalization of the telecom sector. That's just one. And he did a great job to the best of his ability. No leader is perfect. My estimation that he did a great job. And left. And he brought a decent gentleman from Katsina. Musa Yaradua. Umaru Yaradua. Decent man. He proclaimed amnesty, took bold decisions, established the Ministry of Niger Delta, which has now been scrapped, proclaimed amnesty. He and his vice, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, as sitting vice president, then Vice President Jonathan went to the creeks. And they did a lot of work. Unfortunately, that gentleman didn't stay for long. He passed. Now, PDP rallied round President Jonathan, and he completed his tenure. PDP and all Nigerians rallied around him 2011 and elected him in his own right as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, so ladies and gentlemen, you understand why some of us have been emotionally attached to the PDP. Because no other party in Nigeria, from independence till date, would have done for my people and for all so-called minorities and other oppressed people what the PDP did. So it's a platform that we are passionate about. The current party in power, you know, they don't have that kind of agenda. It's for the big and the strong. For the big and the strong. They are free to prove me wrong. When President Buhari ended his tenure, of course, all the decisions and what happened. But the APC is free to prove me wrong. But, so we have been very passionate about supporting the PDP. Some of you may know that because of our ideological commitment to the PDP, with the unfortunate loss of the 2015 elections by President Jonathan and the PDP, some of us have never rested. I have been appointed 5 times by 5 different national chairmen to head the National Reconciliation Committee of the PDP. The last vice chairman I had is the late His Excellency Ibrahim Mantu, CFR, of blessed memory. May God bless his soul. Ibrahim Mantu as my vice, and notable PDP leaders selected from all states of this country. We went round all nooks and crannies of Nigeria, finding out what the issues were, interfacing with stakeholders, harmonizing differences, and building consensus. I was first appointed to that role by His Excellency Bamanga Tuko, Laji Bamanga Tuko, decent elder statesman. And if all chairmen who came after him continued, formally reappointed, to Muazo, to Sheriff, Udu Sheriff, Secondus, to all of them. So there's nothing about PDP that I won't know, no player, no issue that I'm not aware of. And as you all know, I also, while being governor and an active member of the PDP Governors Forum, which we created. That PDP Governors Forum did not exist. It was created by some of us. And I was one of those. And we drafted the Senate President now, who is now APC. You know, most of the APC leaders were trained by PDP. Not only the good things they are doing, no, if they do any. If they do other things, those ones, they picked it from the APC. When they were in PDP, they were good. So, Godswill Akpabio, His Excellency, then governor of Akwa Ibom, close brother governor of mine, friend, was made the PDP Governors Forum chairman. We created it. And much later, I too became chairman of the PDP Governors Forum. So there's no strata of leadership that we have not tasted in the PDP. I took over from my good friend, His Excellency Dankwambo, Ibrahim Dankwambo, when he was leaving. And after I left, I think my good friend, Tambuwal, governor of Sokoto at that time, took over when I left. So we've tried our best. And even after I left, the PDP leadership has found it fit to appoint me to different reconciliation committees. The last one serving with my brother and friend, former Senate President Bukola Saraki. And together, and with other leaders, we tried everything in the book to steer the party away from avoidable, and I repeat it, avoidable. I repeat it the third time, avoidable crisis. But the governors who did not know the difference between a party having 28 governors, as PDP had before, and Governors Forum was very strong. They don't know the difference when that number reduces to 10 to 12. They don't know that if you're a clever dancer, when the drum changes, your dance steps too must change. This is governor, leader of party. The leaders of party, yes, but look at where they have led the party to. They will not consult. Even the people who appears to you and you make them governor, they won't consult. They won't take advice. The leader of party with their shoulders higher than their heads. And you know, unlike us, who were managing 500 million a month to do development and everything in our state, 1 billion, we will be happy. They have billions and billions of naira. So, you know, money and power, very dangerous combination. So, we see a lot of things we don't talk. The governors of PDP must take responsibility for the destruction, avoidable, self-inflicted destruction of PDP. I know that there is an atmosphere of a one-party atmosphere in the country. People talk of inducement, people talk of intimidation, people talk of all kinds of things. But I was an opposition governor. We were opposition governors in this country. 2015. We went into an election believing we'll win. At the presidential, we lost. 6 months later, I had to face the federal might. And all of you who are aware, you know how the elections in Bayelsa went, 2015, 2016. Every month they were changing commissioners of police, 2 in Bayelsa. Directors of SSS. INEC Rex. They were writing results on pieces of paper. They didn't stand a chance against me in the PDP led by me. They knew it. They knew it. Some of us, the kind of work we did, if you look around, you look at the money available and what we did quietly, you will be marveled. In every sector, education, healthcare, infrastructure, agriculture, security, governance itself, reforms. But the federal government was bent on taking our state, my state especially, and other states around too. We, the governors of PDP, the opposition, stood fast. We held our ground. There was EFCC. There was ICPC. I don't know if they have forgotten that there was a Magon, an AIG Magon, who was head of EFCC. And they later brought Bauer. There was an attorney general for 8 years, Boubacar Malami. We know what we managed, what we went through. We did not budge. And they were inviting us, they were inducing us, they were intimidating. We did not change. The governor is head of a subnational. They are not to operate as houseboys to the federal system. No. You can collaborate on stability and security. You can collaborate on the economy through the Economic Council. But politically, don't tell me that somebody is putting pressure on you. Are they stopping your monies? That's why I say, having been a governor, an opposition governor, governors of PDP, like Emperor Nero, fiddled while Rome was on fire. They did not know when to stop. Their petty politicking, childish ambitions. Ambitions are legitimate, but you have to keep your platform. And when they take all the wrong decisions, the next minute, you are leader of party, not so. Or you take the party. They put all their people to control party. The next moment you see they are decamping to APC holding broom. Very sad. Very, very sad. I know there are other factors. As I said, there's a one-party tendency. But who do you blame? President Buhari and his henchmen were talking to me. I told them straight away, in fact, what you are telling me to do is not honorable. President Buhari, a decent man, brought out his hand, shake me, say, I respect you. But also warned me, we'll win your state. And I replied, Your Excellency, power comes from above. He said, yes. And even when the election was a stalemate, President Buhari had basic decency not to get involved. Basic decency. It's a level you don't get involved as president and commander-in-chief. When the election in Southern Niger, they rigged the elections and wrote results. If Buhari were some people, he will place a call. Or somebody from Villa will call. Say, add that number, add that this. Buhari never did that. INEC said, these are fake figures you are bringing. They canceled the APC and scheduled the re-election. I know some of the security officials went rogue, bringing military, DSS, police to intimidate and harass people. Bayelsa women and youth had to lie down to block armored personnel carriers. That was how I fought to ward a federal takeover of my state. A state that, unfortunately, the biggest beneficiaries of that effort have dashed to the APC. The APC that did not win us dashed our state to them. And they called that politics. Anyway, you see, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying is that this country has lost a major, something terrible has happened to this country's political history by the weakening and the imminent destruction of the PDP. PDP is a national treasure. The story, political story of our country in this dispensation cannot be written without PDP. a party that produced 3 presidents, back to back, has now been made to lie prostrate. Because governors and other people elected did not show capacity, vision, and commitment to it. I've told you all about PDP and my passion for it and how sad I am. How sad I am. I had hoped and prayed that with the efforts we were making, that the warring parties will pull back. Will pull back, give peace a chance, and study the political climate and atmosphere in the country. And note that democratic rights, civil liberties are shrinking. The space is shrinking. And unfortunately, you have a party that wants to make history as the party that enforced one-party rule in Nigeria. But all the efforts we made, especially the last effort before the convention in Oyo, where the Board of Trustees and some of us all felt that we needed to take a break and advise them accordingly. I and one elder even referred to the Bible, where King Solomon placed judgment when 2 women, I don't want to talk about their profession, 2 women came arguing who was the true mother of that child. Solomon, the wise man, said, okay, my guards, bring the sword. This one says she's the mother. This other one says she's the mother. No problem. Bring the sword. My head guard, take this child, split him into 2 equal parts. The leaders of PDP should have known when to pull back. And in that parable, the true mother of the child, what did she say? She said, please let the child survive. Give the child to this. At least the child will survive. And if the child survives, one day, the child will know who the true mother is. Wise woman. And the wisest king said, this is the true mother. Give her the child. Anyone who has a legitimate claim and connection to the PDP should have known when to pull back. There's a song, The Gambler, by Kenny Rogers. You must know when to run, when to hold on, and when to run away. You must know when to hold on. And you don't count your cards while sitting on the table. Simple, simple lesson. Where we are, unfortunately, is that my beloved party that has done so much for my people, party that have always spoken to everybody, to still keep hoping, keeping hoping. Unfortunately, that party, as you all know, is it's not only sick, it's been sick for a long time. It's in the intensive care unit. The doctors are not smiling. Even the nurses attending to the party in the ICU are not smiling. It is not my place to pronounce the final judgment. They have surrendered it to the courts. Not so. Courts, they do not control. Courts that do not work with their timing. And one day, those who have the authority to announce what has happened to that patient in the ICU will announce. Because of my love and emotional connection, it's too sad for me to even hazard a guess, particularly with the INEC timetable, by which in April and thereabout, nomination processes will start. So you can tell the fate, even irrespective of whichever way the judgment goes. And mind you, that will only be a judgment of the Court of Appeal. So, ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm making is, it's unfortunate. We have to move on. We have to move on. We have shown love and support and loyalty. I could have defected to the APC even as governor. It's not because President Buhari and his people didn't try. We resisted. And the reason being that Nigeria must not be a one-party state. That reason still holds. But the PDP that we kept hoping and working to revive, unfortunately, has kept digging itself deeper and deeper in the mud, and now from a quagmire, now in the ICU. And in view of the INEC political activities, the timetable, we must move on. We must move on. The decision has therefore been made that, as painful as it is, as emotionally unpleasant as it is, this great party that offered us everything, unfortunately, may not be in a position to be competitive in the 2027 general elections. Now, there are miracles in life, and I have been associated with a number. Miracles can happen. We wish the PDP well. I hope that the decision from the ICU will enable it to be competitive. What we'll do, what happens to it later, we'll see. But for now, I and my friends across the country, after careful consultation for a long period, when we saw the trajectory, the way, the direction that people were taking the PDP to as a personal estate, and not minding whether it was in opposition, they keep on carrying as if it's still a party in government. People who don't care to build parties to win elections in their places. They claim in Abuja to be leaders, take decisions, and do whatever with it. So my friends and I have been working, and we fought, put together an association to give Nigerians, all Nigerians, a credible ideological platform and alternative. And that platform, INEC delayed us for several years, several months. And we went to court. The same way we utilized the judiciary, ran to the judiciary. When the APC and the federal minds wrote results and came to announce in Bayelsa, when I was rounding up my tenure, and announced someone, we were waiting for them in the judiciary. And the judiciary gave us judgment, and we retrieved the governorship. Although, unfortunately, it has gone back to the APC. But that's a story for another day. We went to the judiciary again, and complained that INEC was in breach of our constitutional right to freedom of association, which is fundamental. That INEC's duty to regulate cannot be used as an excuse to penalize or limit the exercise of the right of freedom of association, without which no democracy works. And the reason they gave for denying registration was not right, was wrong, was an abuse of discretion. And the Federal Court listened to all arguments and gave judgment in our favor. I want to use this opportunity to thank the Nigerian judiciary once again for performing their jobs as being impartial arbiters in disputes. Based on that judgment, INEC, that was represented, decided to register our association as a political party. Let me use this opportunity also to thank and appreciate Professor Amupito, the chairman of INEC, for ensuring that the rule of law was applied and that due and appropriate respect was paid and given to the judgment of the courts in this regard. I thank him and all INEC officials who took that decision and who implemented that judgment. So, my dear friends, fellow Nigerians, as a result of the decision of the judgment and the decision by the INEC implementing it, accepting and implementing it, last week INEC issued a certificate of registration. And we now have the newest party in Nigeria known as the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC. And our symbol is victory, the victory sign. Victory sign. And if you see, go through all impactful, transformational leaders, you see them use that victory sign. From Gandhi to Awolowo, Aminu Kano, all of them. But there are also some pretenders, by the way. The hood does not make the monk. So, my dear Nigerians, you now have a credible alternative opposition party known as the Nigerian Democratic Congress. Yes, it's coming at this time. We would have wished it started some years or months back. We don't control INEC and their processes, they delayed. Don't also control the judiciary. But thank God it has finally arrived. You know, the Chinese say every challenge, the other word for challenge is opportunity. Within this period, don't have the resources that they have. Short period is good for you. You hit the ground running. Credible platform, fresh platform, no encumbrances, no lawsuits, no disputing executives, brand new, like a baby. Have you seen a baby having enemies? Brand new. And I hereby offer it to all Nigerians who share with me and with us the idea of a multi-party Nigeria, a multi-party democratic Nigeria, and say no to those who want to foist on this nation of 300 ethnic nationalities a one-party state. misplaced and cannot work. You may ask, well, you have heard my background, and I worked with the masters, trained by them. From Harold Dapabri, our leader and father, whose secretary and legal advisor I was before he died. Papa Clark, who died? Oh, who? Attorney General to President Jonathan in Yanagwa, Bayelsa. Worked with the great masters, leaders of the PCF, who founded the Alliance for Democracy. Pa Abraham Adesoya, blessed member. Pa Adebanjo, blessed member. The young man, chairman of AD, can remember receiving them even in Port Harcourt Airport. Elderly men. The late Bola Ige, Uncle Bola, as all of us young people used to call him. Falaye is still alive. He's now a traditional ruler. Good man, may God bless his reign. And so you have, and then MD Yusuf founded Movement for Democracy and Justice. So as I've said, I'm a politician of conviction, trained by all these people. Go for what is right and build a Nigeria for all Nigerians, founded on justice and fairness to all, both the big and the small. A Nigeria for the weak as well as the strong. So I'm not uncomfortable in opposition. But we want our party to win power, implement the ideology upon which it has been founded, and then work for the benefit of our people. That's why the motto is service. Service to the people. Power to the people is good, but service to the people is better. But what you do with service, what you do with power, is to serve. Not yourself. Yourself the least. And so I invite all Nigerians who share in these values a constitutional and truly federal Nigeria, a democratic Nigeria with respect for diversity. Look at what the APC is doing. Mishandling and abusing the diversity, mismanaging the diversity of this great nation. I disagree with it. Disagree with it. And you may ask, some of you may have some questions, so maybe I will pause, but let me say that the NDC has come to stay, and we invite all genuinely progressive Nigerians. There are those who are claiming progressive this, progressive that. And we see what they do. There's no progress in it. This one, the NDC, for real Nigerian progressives, who want to change Nigeria for the better. Invite you all to join. Platforms are open for registration. Inquiries can be made. It's a fresh platform. There are program officers all over. Come and join, show capacity and performance. There's room for you in the party. The party platform is available for all of you to utilize, to express your dreams and ambitions. I want to particularly invite all women Just as I paid attention to affirmative action in Bayelsa's government. Affirmative action is one of the things that make us unique in this party for women. Young people of Nigeria, the youth, come into this party. There are leaders and elders who guide and support and mentor you. The future of this country belongs to you. And so, my friends in our very beloved party who are in this quagmire, I want to extend an open, unrestrained hand of friendship to you all. You are very wonderful Democrats and wonderful people who have stayed steadfast in the PDP up until now. And like me, most of you have tried your best. And I know you know that. Tried your best to prevent this situation. But here we are. With this shortness of period left, I know that most of you and your supporters are also asking a lot of questions. The good news now is that whereas our party is in the ICU and we are waiting decision, there is a credible opposition platform for you to access. For all the other political parties, we offer you a hand of fellowship in the opposition. Come round, let us come together and work together to rescue this country. For our friends in the APC, as most of you know my position, we do not believe in a one-party Nigeria. What is good for this country is a strong political party in government and a strong party in opposition. Stay there, do your best. Don't violate democratic norms and principles just because you are in a position to do so. Protect the democratic system. And I've warned Nigerian leaders and the political class. The Nigerian political class unwittingly are committing class suicide. When a political class keeps decamping after every election, look at political parties in Ghana. Just here, stay in your party and build your party. If not, what has happened to PDP, and we don't even know whether we will have candidates on the party who will send what and so on. There's no point. Stay there and build it. And we have demonstrated it. But if you are in power, know that it is transient. Let us protect the common principles, democratic norms. Whether you're in government or out of government, there are certain things the political elite must agree to do or not to do. You can't be a politician and be compromising elections. You don't stand for free and fair elections. You are committing class suicide. What's the difference between you and somebody who comes to play anthem and chase you away? You are planning to rig elections and to announce figures that don't exist, to take fake results from INEC, which is why people are running to ruling parties. I fought them in Bayelsa. And I know the only hope they have is to come with soldiers and police and DSS and Navy. And we are waiting. We'll enlighten our people and train them. They know me, they know what we did. We're going to do it again. So, but that's not a political class that wants to survive. A political class, a politician must respect the sanctity of the vote and influence people to get it. Not to suppress or kill them or maim them. A political class that does not respect the independence of the judiciary is going for its own destruction. You must protect the judiciary to be an independent arbiter of dispute. When they're out of power, they are running to the judiciary. So That is it. And then freedom of the press. These are the things you subscribe to. And these are some of the things the NDC holds there. I want to stop at this point and allow the able national chairman to make a brief statement. He says he has a presentation for me, so we'll listen to him. And when he finishes, we'll take few questions. Thank you very much for your time. And for those who are linking in, thank you very much for listening. We'll have more of these interactions as I continue to speak more on what we stand for in the NDC. By formally announcing that a few days ago, in compliance pursuant to the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party, I formally communicated my resignation from the People's Democratic Party. Painfully and emotionally so. But then, that is the only realistic option available now. Communicated to the appropriate quarters. It has been acknowledged. And in the course of the following weeks and days, I will take it up further. On this note, Mr. Chairman, let me thank you and your colleagues in the National Working Committee for the great work you are doing. And I thank all Nigerians for their interest in joining the NDC. I welcome all of you to be part of it, from all states in Nigeria. Join the team, carry out the registration exercise, be part of it, opportunities for you. You called it a virgin party, I called it a brand new baby. And there's a lot for you, and you will hear from us as time goes on.
Your Excellency, distinguished Senator Henry HSDickson, Senator representing Bayelsa West Senatorial District, with the 001 member of our newest party, the NDC. I hereby present to you your membership card as 001. And to add to it, Your Excellency, by reason of our service to people nature, this is our symbolic authority. Today, you are our national leader. Therefore, the symbol of authority must be passed on to you or given to you to direct, to articulate, to guide, to mentor, just as you have said, both women, and especially, I repeat, women and youths of this country that have been longing for privileges and opportunities to advance their course of life and to add to value change and proper positive democratic direction for this country. We know all those are naturally embedded into you. It is therefore by the powers conferred on me by today as pro-tem national chairman, I hand over unto you the symbol of authority as national leader of Nigeria Democratic Congress to lead us to the promised land.
NDC! Service to the people!
NDC. On this note, let me pause to take some questions briefly.
Thank you so much, Excellency, the distinguished Senator, and the NDC, what you have done here has shown to us that democracy is still alive in Nigeria. And as people in the media, we find this very exciting. That's why myself, as the director of News Authorized TV, had to leave everything to come here and witness what's going on, sir. Sir, you recall that in the First Republic, sir, there was a party called the Niger Delta Congress. I'm saying you being an offshoot of Harold Dapabiri, who was the leader of that party. And I'm saying everything around here signaling a rebirth of that party, which went into an alliance with the then Northern People's Congress to form a government at the center and to promote the causes of the then minorities of the region here, the old Eastern region, with specific reference to the South-South, which we now call. And I want to ask if this is not that party coming back through the back door, and you're going to rebuild this party from the Niger Delta, just like we have APGA, working in the southeast of the country. And then, of course, if you would share with us some of the ideals when it comes to the issues of federalism and your beliefs. And then also, you will agree with me, sir, that most political parties in Nigeria have agreed to zone, their party's presidential tickets to the southern part of the country in the spirit of, togetherness in the country and all of that. And I'm thinking if indeed you're already planning to declare for presidential contest under the NDP, which you're entitled to do NDC, which you're entitled to actually do so. But also to talk about some of the things that you have put as buffers to prevent, molds from the governing APC, like we have seen in other political parties, coming, and pretty soon, under 1 month or 2 months, we hear that you're having factions, you are in court, and maybe you're unable to present candidates in court and all of that. What are the strategies you put together to ensure that Nigerians actually have a free atmosphere, and this is not just a regional party that's only meant for some people, and you play exclusionary politics?
Yes, I worked under Harold Dapabiri, and in fact, when I was governor, I built an international conference center named after him, to honor him, as I honored so many of our leaders, and indeed leaders from all over Nigeria. I'm a pan-Nigerian politician. The Niger Delta Congress of old is different from this Nigeria Democratic Congress. Our own NDC is different from that one. That one was a product of the historical circumstances at that time, when all parties were regional. You had NPC, regional. You had Action Group, regional. You had the NDC, led by Harold Dapabiri, regional. The only true party that started as a national party, the NCNC, even didn't have much representation in the north. So, in a sense, you can say that in the First Republic, all those parties were regional. And right now, there are no regional parties. No. This is a national party. Our agenda is pan-Nigerian in nature. Pan-Nigerian. It's for all Nigerians. And in any case, the rules for registration of political parties now is such that if you are not even having that spread, they won't register you. So Nigeria is far from regional parties now. You talked about buffers to prevent, but we do have regard for what our founding fathers did, including the great work that Harold Dapabiri, of blessed memory, Chief Melford Okilo, of blessed memory, Pa Clark, all the work that they did. Just as I acknowledge all the work that all other leaders of this country do. And we honor them from time to time. But the NDC is a national party. You talked about modes and what strategies to prevent. NDC is open, and our mechanisms and our constitution is very different from what obtains in the others. As I said, a newborn baby, if we're in normal times, shouldn't have enemies. We're open for all. If any situation arises, we will know how to handle it. But that's not the least of our worries now. We want to attract good people all over this country. And I assure you, with the caliber of people from all over Nigeria that are coming to us, NDC will spring a surprise. We will win elections in so many places. And we are actually aiming to take over power at the center. We are actually aiming to take over power, and it is possible. It's possible. It's human beings that make a party. Not so. It's not a name. It's human beings. And if you look at the dynamics that played out in 2023, you know that with this anger in Nigeria, the hunger and the disenchantment, and with the credibility of the platform that we offer, anything is possible. You talked about a presidential run. Let me tell you right away, that's not our focus. I and my colleagues are working to build the party and offer it to Nigerians and attract many people as possible. About zoning of presidential tickets, politics is much more than that. We want to first build a party. We don't want to make the mistakes that the other parties are making. All argument is about who runs and who does not run, which region comes from. Wouldn't you have a party first? So we're addressing that. And when it gets to that time, things will sort themselves out. But I am not, for now, looking in that direction, even though I'm eminently qualified, as you all can see. But that's not our focus. We want to build a party. So we want to invite everyone, all those who have presidential interest, all those who have governorship interest, all those who have senatorial, House of Rep, House of Assembly interest, chairmanship interest, and so on, come to the NDC. And you will see the next elections. With NDC, the game has changed. With NDC, the game has changed. Nigerians will be mobilized right from the unit to vote for parties and candidates of their choice. All over. Thank you very much.
Before you took this decision of coming to NDC, haven't been there in PDP, you said you are emotionally attached, and you have always been. I don't know, did you discuss with especially former President Jonathan about this move?
Don't bring in former presidents into a political party. My partisan life is not tied to anybody's there.
True, sir.
We meet, and because you have asked, we meet at different levels and discuss things we need to discuss.
Okay. Finally, sir.
Yeah.
Finally, sir. How is the atmosphere going to be in Bayelsa? The person that is so close to you, that you are instrumental to him. He has moved from your party to APC, and now you have formed NDC. Give a picture of how it will look like.
Well, your questions are about Bayelsa. And first of all, you have to, leaders of this country, who we believe have done well, we honor them. And for those who are alive, in the nearest future, we'll begin to interface. Okay, so you don't create an impression. There is one former president or so who is, no. If you look at my background, there are not many politicians with this background. If we give regard and respect to people, it's because we do so, that is the right thing to do. They don't determine our politics. But we are going to meet all of them to discuss the issues that are important, that need to be discussed. And about Bayelsa, Well, my successor, everybody knows the role I played. Not just governorship, he was my principal secretary, deputy chief of staff. Sent him to the House of Reps, sent him to the Senate, and I believed, because he was part of the John Niger Delta movement, I'm an ideologue, I wanted someone with that mindset to take over because of the issues in the Niger Delta. But he, for his reasons that he gave, he had gone to APC, as most of his colleagues have done so. He's not the first, he's not the only one, but he has done that. And you can see similar things playing out. Governor of Kano left, godfather, his leader, is going on with his politics. A governor of Akwa Ibom left. The man who brought him, last time I checked, is still in PDP, or whatever is going to be left of PDP. Politics is going on. So this case of Bayelsa cannot be different. Is that what I would have wished when I was fighting to promote him for over 10 years and fought everybody to make him governor? I can tell you right away, no. But we are human beings. It's only God who sees tomorrow and sees everything. And we take decisions based on our finite senses. And like I tell people, what God uses you to do for people is within your control. But when you have done what God wants you to do for them, how they respond to you or treat you, what they do with that position and authority and privilege, you are not in control of it. They are in control. So it's between them and God Almighty and the people. So, and that's why you can see it's an exemplary situation in Bayelsa. A lot of people have called to thank me, to appreciate me for the maturity and tolerance. I'm known for tolerant politicking, mature politicking. If a former paper is on one side and you are on the other side, you have all the money, all the power. Maybe thinking federal government will come, soldiers to kill people are right result for you. You have to stand well. Because my politics, when campaigns start, we give power to the people. And nothing other than that will be acceptable. Talking of Bayelsa, the Bayelsa electorates in all their communities will vote. And we will police those votes. If you like, go and bring all the garrison. Soldiers and police don't vote. The APC is used to getting fake result sheets. And they bring soldiers to shoot people. The armed thugs to come and shoot people and kill people. That's how they do Bayelsa. They have never won any state. I can assure you, Bayelsa people, when the time comes, you will see how they will massively reject the APC. But this is not time for campaign. I assure you, the tolerance and maturity that has made Bayelsa to be stable and peaceful will continue. And I urge you all, the media, to call for free and fair elections, call for protection and support for the vulnerable voters. And people are thinking they will intimidate. And the press should highlight all of those. But Bayelsa will continue to be peaceful. I laid the foundation for peace and stability. And I've maintained it since leaving office. Thank you.
Based on your rich political history, You've contested election as an opposition. You've contested election as one from the ruling party. Ahead of the 2027 general election, the current electoral law which was signed, how comfortable is your party going into this contest with that law in place?
How comfortable? The electoral law could have been clearer. I was in the committee, I chaired the panel even at the Lagos session. But a number of clauses were changed when the plenary sat. When you work in a committee, the committee report comes to the plenary. And at the plenary, that's where lawmaking takes place. We only guide the plenary. So in that context, it's unfortunate that the law came out finally the way it did. But the law is still an improvement. You have IRF now recognized. You now have a mandatory provision directing all presiding officers to compulsorily transmit to the IRF. And you have this law prescribing penalty for any presiding officer, and the press should take this seriously. All those young presiding officers, coppers that people may induce, they should know that if they don't transmit willfully, that section prescribes jail term. That section prescribes. So the law is serious about electronic transmission. Our party has set up a committee chaired by the National Legal Advisor, and they are taking a holistic look at it, and we are also interfacing with other parties. And whatever position that we take will be duly communicated. Is there any other question?
We're done, sir.
Well, somebody was whispering to me, why am I not declaring for ADC? Somebody was whispering that. Well, let me thank the leaders of the ADC. They are individually all people that I respect and people who have paid their dues. I respect them and they respect me. A number of them are in touch. We compare notes. But you see, the leaders of the ADC did a great work and service for democracy by showing that multi-party democracy in Nigeria must stand. So that one they have done well. Done well. The leaders of the ADC. And it's because of what happened to the PDP. They had to set up the ADC in case, and now that in case of incasity has been proved almost right. But any politician who seeks to the opposition, whether in ADC or anyone, should be commended. We know how tough being in opposition is. So I'm not going to stand there and denigrate the leaders of ADC. No, they are all my friends, colleagues. They are doing a great work for our democracy, for our country, just as the NDC is also doing. But like a friend asked, Oga, we thought you were coming to ADC. The point is that at my level, you have heard of my history and how I stay loyal and steadfast to principles, to causes, and to people. I don't frankly know where the ADC stands on some of the issues that are very important to me. The NDC stands for true federalism in a democratic Nigeria and devolution of powers. The NDC stands for primacy of position in government to be given attention given to national security and safety. The NDC stands for investments in education, and yet more education, as I did in Bayelsa. The NDC stands for healthcare, priority. Healthcare, why is it so difficult? not seen a clear position. The NDC stands for women position, youth empowerment, and affirmative action. The NDC stands for respect for the diversity of Nigeria, a diversity that the APC has so abused and thoroughly rubbished a nation of over 300 ethnic nationalities. So, on a number of other issues, maybe because I'm not as close as I am, as much as I've interacted with some of the ADC leaders, maybe because I'm not an insider. I'm not saying they don't have a position. I'm only saying I don't know. And for me, any political party that I will call my own for me to belong to, going for must be clear on those issues. It's a good thing for people to gather in opposition. But I want to ask, what is the agenda for governance? What is the agenda beyond gathering, beyond being together? And time will tell whether it is a coalition or a coalition. A coalition is when you are like this. A coalition is like this. You jam me, I jam you. So, there's no clarity about this. So while I thank them, I appreciate them for what they are doing, I want clarity. I'm not just somebody who joins a party for the sake of it. Otherwise, I would have. Everybody has wanted me to be in there. I won't. I've not. So we are moved by fundamental beliefs and principles and values. A friend also asked me, you are leaving PDP that you so cherish. Why don't you come to APC instead? You are still in opposition to opposition. And I answered it. Number one, I don't believe that Nigeria should be a one-party state. And it will take people to make the sacrifice. And if it takes people like us to do so, I'm very happy doing so for the sake of the Nigerian nation. We cannot all be a nation of one tendency. And I disagree, as I've said over and over, with the direction of the APC. And it's not just President Tinubu. It's a philosophy of the APC, even under Buhari. The abuse of the diversity of this country. The inability to manage the diversity of Nigeria. The attempt to translate Nigeria to a state or a region. I disagree with it. I completely disagree with it. It happened under Buhari. It brought us from top to bottom. And now, as President Tinubu rightly said when he was campaigning, he will continue from where Buhari stopped. And he has taken us, not to the top, to another direction, back. So, I'm not going to join those kind of, that's not my idea for Nigeria. We love Nigeria. We have issues in Nigeria. Every group has an issue in Nigeria. There must be respect for all. There must be inclusion for all. We will address those issues, not by emphasizing and promoting the fault lines of Nigeria's governing ideology, which is what the APC has done. So, I'm not attracted to the APC. It doesn't attract. I have some good friends there. We remain friends. But the party, no. I've not seen it. If they change tomorrow, if they start major devolution, if they start the things that we in NDC we believe in, we will talk. But for now, no. So that's what I told him, and I thought people should know.